Hey y'all, and welcome to the studio. And today we're talking about a topic that I've never really talked about before, and it is markers. So if you've been on TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube Shorts, or even YouTube videos, you have probably seen tons and tons of creators talking about Ohuhu markers, or just alcohol markers in general. Well, I, for one, was like, not a big fan of markers, stuff like that. I don't think I will ever do a video on markers because, you know, it's not my style, it's not my thing. So I definitely will not be influenced to buy markers I may have gotten influenced, just a little bit. See, I didn't think I was going to like markers because I've never used them. So when I decided to make this video, I kind of went a little overboard with them. I did not buy a giant set. This is actually their medium-sized set, believe it or not. It's 120 markers. But here is the deal. I have seen other artists just absolutely rave about these markers, how they're good for your budget, they're great for coloring books, that you can do everything with these markers. But for me, I had a completely different experience with them. As someone who has never really worked with markers before, I had two very different experiences with these. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I think these are a little overrated. Now, before the whole art community and the coloring talk community come after me in the comments section with the pitchforks, please hear me out. See, I really wanted to enjoy these. And as a realism artist, I really wanted these to work. However, my experience with these markers as a realism artist was very different than anything I have experienced before. So my very first project I did with these markers, I decided to draw a rose. Now, I just kind of jumped into this. I had my colors swatched out and stuff, so I thought I was picking the right colors for this project, but I think I had a lot of user error with these. Because once I started coloring with them, I started to realize that they were a little different than what the marker cap actually shows. The color swatches are a little different than what the color cap looks like. So when I started drawing my rose, my colors looked completely different than what I was expecting. So for me personally, I just really didn't like these markers for trying to draw in realism. I was okay with them at first. I thought I was doing pretty good with them, all things considered, especially using the blending marker with it. However, once I got to the end of this project, I really had a lot of mixed feelings about the end results that I got. Now, just personally, I didn't like them at first. And again, this could be a lot of user error. I've never really worked with markers before. The last time I ever used markers was probably in middle school or elementary school with a coloring page or something like that. Don't really know. However, I had a completely different experience once I moved to a coloring book. Completely different story. I actually loved these markers once I got to a coloring book. I found that these were much nicer to work with once I was in a coloring book. Let me explain. These markers are very juicy, let's just say that. They do bleed through the paper. was fully aware of that once I jumped into this coloring page, but this time I decided I was going to use a set palette, so I used my color cube and found a palette that I really liked, and then I jumped into the coloring page. And let me tell you, it was a night and day difference with these markers versus trying to draw in realism with them and just doing a simple coloring page. I really had a blast once I just jumped into a coloring page with these markers. It was almost a night and day experience with them. I really loved how the colors looked in the page. I loved how they blended, and I loved how they looked just jumping out of the page. And honestly, I think I gave them a bad rep whenever I was kind of coloring with them in the beginning with my realism project. So what are my thoughts on Ohuhu markers? Well, for me personally, I gave them a rough start. For me, as a realism artist, drawing with these, it's a mixed bag, honestly. Could I draw in realism with them? Maybe. If I had the right supplies, I went in with this with just my regular drawing paper. I didn't have any special paper or watercolor paper for this project. So honestly, with realism, maybe I could use them. It just would take a lot more practice. With coloring books, on the other hand, yes, I would recommend them. Now, you don't have to buy a giant set like this. 120 markers is a lot of markers, especially for someone who is just starting out with them. I don't really recommend buying a massive set like this to start off with. However, Ohuhu does have smaller sets. I think they have sets of 75 and 25 and things like that. They're much, much smaller. So if you're starting out with markers, don't be like me and buy a massive set of markers, even though it might be more cost effective in the long run, especially if you really, really like these markers. Just start small with them, especially if you're just going into this as a newbie and you're just doing this for coloring pages and just as for fun. I recommend just doing a smaller set. Don't buy the 320 set. That's like massive. Don't do that. So for me personally, coloring books, yes to these for coloring books and coloring pages. And I will be doing more projects with these markers. For realism, we will have to see on that. I will have to get back to you on that. Let's see if I can draw in realism with these markers on another day. So that's gonna do it for me today in the studio. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got some good insights into what I think about these. Of course, this is just my own opinion. I know that everyone else has their own opinions about these markers and stuff. Like I said, some people just absolutely love these and rave about these. For me, they're okay. They're a good marker. I'm not gonna discredit Ohuhu. They do make a really good marker. And they do have a very wide variety of colors too, so I will give them that. But for me, I think I'm just gonna have to practice a lot more with these markers, and I'm gonna have to just keep working with them, honestly. And that's the main thing, is even if you're not good at using an art supply in the beginning, it doesn't mean give up on that art supply. It just means keep practicing with that art supply. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me in the studio today. Like and subscribe and leave a comment down below and tell me in the comments, do you really like these markers? Have you tried them out, and what was your experience with them? So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye, y'all.